I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the stand, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
I'm Dreme, a black woman with many beautiful interconnecting identities. A few I will name at this moment as we get started on this podcast journey together. A Bostonian, born and raised in the inner city, Dorchester and Roxbury neighborhoods, to a teenage single mother who has my whole heart. An educator, I've been working with youth and children since my teenage years, and formally, I have been teaching almost a decade now. That's wild to think about. An entrepreneur, I am the founder of The Chair, a black and brown centered tech platform dedicated to supporting people on their hair journey, where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a more joyous experience. I have a workable site, my prototype. It took me 2 years to build, and now I'm on this adventure that you're currently on with me. My goal for this podcast is to share stories, black stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and hair stories. I want you to leave each episode with the opportunity to gain new insight, just a glimpse into my world or the worlds that are featured on my podcasts, a little chuckle during your day or night, possibly a little anger to encourage you to advocate for justice, and hope to continue learning and dreaming. So come in and listen to the beautiful voices in the chair as they share their stories, starting with me.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, everyone. This is Cindy. Cindy, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Cindy Velardo. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, first of all. I'm so excited. And yes, I am based here out of Boston now. I use she, her pronouns. I am many, many things. I'm happy to share. Environmental enthusiast, now a startup owner. I'd love to talk about all things health and spirituality, and I'd love to get into it.
Cindy and I met 7-8 months ago at one of those, tech mixer things. And Cindy walked up to me and she was like, "Sorry, I look like The Rock today." It was that The Rock picture with the high-waisted jeans.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
And the black turtleneck and the necklace. And when she said that, I said, "Yo, this woman has a sense of humor. I am down with this lady."
Oh my gosh.
Because the tech events can be so serious, being like, "Excuse me, this is my business. I need X and X amount of money." Or, "Excuse me, can you give me this? Do you know this contact?" And then Cindy comes up and says, "Sorry, I look like The Rock," like as her introduction into a conversation. And I was like, "Yo, this is the best."
Wow, I make a good first impression. I forgot. That's hilarious.
Cindy, what is your entrepreneurial business that you run?
Yeah, so I really never thought that I would be here, to be honest. So I love being so honest about this. I was environmental studies pre-med at University of Oklahoma. So that's where I'm from, born and raised. And I was kind of really going down the track of both of my parents being physicians, and also one of my parents is an immigrant, and just very strongly suggested a professional path that was well known. And I definitely always resonated with helping others. So that's kind of what got me into, in college, exploring new clubs on campus, new things to be a part of. And I really expanded and kind of found my place in the environmental group, Earth Club and Sierra Club, and we'd go camping and hiking, and I was just totally in love with that. And it was so interesting because I really started to see a difference and kind of inconsistencies between my environmental classes, because I chose that as my major, and opposed to the pre-med classes. And I just saw a stark difference that the environmental classes were so open, questioning everything, super sustainable, of course. And the pre-med classes were very stark and kind of tough to understand, also very wasteful. Like a lot of my chemistry classes, we would dispose of so many pipettes. And all that's to say, I was so passionate about solving the problems that I learned about in my class.
Mm,
And the main thing was just like, hey, how do we create less pollution in this world? I'm just so upset by what I'm hearing. We're killing things, we're killing the animals and the planet, and the climate is being heavily impacted, and everything is connected to that. And so that's when I started my journey. This was all before starting a business.
mm,
It was just interest in reusable products, and one of those things being for period care. And so now I am, this is skipping the story, but long story short, started using menstrual cups, learned as that is a zero waste way to manage your period.
mm,
And I started a club on campus, started sharing with others, won a grant to India to share about some of our findings of just reusable care. And all of this was just truly, I was like, I want to change the world. Super ideal. And I still am sometimes, but it's all baked into now where it's, hey, I found this thing called the menstrual cup, never knew it existed
mm,
since it's been around since the 1930s. My parents didn't tell me. They're all doctors. My pre-med classes didn't tell me. That's really concerning. How do we get the word out there, one, and how do we make it less intimidating to use?
mm.
Because so many people have told me, reusable products seem kind of gross. Like, hey, I don't want to see the blood. I don't want to manage all that stuff. So it was really this perspective that got me into creating Sunny, which is now my startup company of 5 years. And it is based on eco-friendly products, honest education, and global impact.
Mm,
And me and my co-founder created this around the menstrual cup and applicator. We've created the very first menstrual cup that can be inserted as easy as a tampon with all the benefits of reusability. But really, it was to help end period poverty. That's why I started this whole thing.
mm.
It's to educate, to make sure people know their options, and just to offer one more option to you as a period haver.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hairboards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair. The chair. The chair. All right.
I'm wondering, when we think about identity, I started building the chair because of my
Yeah.
black identity, my hair identity,
Mm.
right? You are coming at it from the environmentalist identity. Do you
Mhm.
see any of your other identities pouring into the world that you work in?
Yeah. So I identify as Chinese, Puerto Rican, American, and Taino indigenous within Puerto Rican heritage.
Mm,
I'm exploring those identities so much because I think it's my mom, she's an immigrant, so I'm first generation there. And my dad, he's first generation from Puerto Rico. He lived in New York. And my parents met in New York in kind of the physician school. And so that's how they got an opportunity out in Oklahoma. I still get confused of how that all happened. Very different places, New York to Oklahoma. I mean, it was really interesting. And yeah, that's a whole thing of just like trying to figure out my identity in a place that was so white, so not understanding of mixed race, of most people didn't even know what Puerto Rican was. So that was very confusing for me growing up, was just to find anyone else similar. So I think I've always questioned things, which has really made me who I am today. I think it's really made me more open-minded of say, hey, like we need to include these people. I know I'm not just one thing. And I think that's really changed the way I see others and interact with others is we need diversity. We need all these people. They're all a part of it and we're all the same at the end of the day. That's really what I believe and I think has brought this kind of environmental spiritual side to the work that I do as well. That's what I would say. But also, I think there's a lot of histories in kind of a lot of Asian culture and Chinese culture. It's very taboo. But I think that's across the board to talk about menstruation or sex education. So I think that was one also thing I had to wrestle with was it's just kind of not talked about so much.
What keeps you going when you know you're going to hit a wall when it comes to talking about menstruation with different parts of your identity, when it comes to you being a woman and they talk about, well, you're not using pads or tampons, or when it comes to your Chinese background, they're like, well, you're not even supposed to be talking about this at all. And then when it comes to you being an environmentalist, they're like, okay, well, there's 40 other things we can focus on when it comes to waste. Why are we in this world? So what keeps you going?
Yeah, I always love questioning myself and just thinking of new perspectives, philosophies. I think the thing that's kept me going, and I think this is also unrelated to the identities, but perhaps a little bit, but also my parents' divorce. We're bringing it all out here. We're all healing through our stuff, but I think it's all made me into who I am. Just to realize there is no one right way to do something. I think that's the main thing that's kept me going is the feminist approach. It's an option. We are not forcing. It is with consent. If you choose to use this, this is an option and it's safe. I think that's been our approach, me and my co-founder as well, of just making sure we understand, we create it with the people who actually have the need. We're listening to that user. That's really our philosophy here. So I think that's what's kept me going is seeing positive in a group, positive response. That just shows me like, hey, this group thinks it's needed. So let's keep following that. That's who we're making it for.
I think a lot about difference. So I grew up with a single mother, but my mother had these best friends at the time, and they each had a group of kids. There was like 12 of us all together. So I felt like I just had so many brothers and sisters, but everybody was a single mom. So for me, this was my normal. This is how this works. And then I attended my high school, BB&N, which is like a predominantly white high school, private. It costs $50,000 a year to go. I was one of 5 black kids in my grade.
Wow.
And the school started from kindergarten all the way up through high school. And I entered in to the 9th grade. So they had only a couple areas where you get new kids. And that was the first time I met so many students, white students who had divorced parents, 2 families, being raised by nannies. So the conversation of normal was a consistent conversation because now I'm being told, well, the way you live is not normal in relation to what success is, in relation to what your classmates do. If I have a mother who loves me, shouldn't that be enough? So I think about that when it comes to different types of businesses. When I'm building the chair, I keep being asked, well, you only need to solve one problem. When I think about hair journeys, there's not just one hair journey. So how can I talk about all the hair journeys instead of overwhelming people, but to be able to say, we're going to talk about all of these other aspects of hair, but we're all going in the same direction.
I think I know what you're saying. Like just kind of taking a step back. It's more holistic. It's what really matters, reassessing the values. As long as those are in check, that's universal.
I'm fascinated with the fact that you grew up in Oklahoma.
Yes.
because I'm like, wait, you grew up in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Thinking about what difference means. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like because you grew up in Oklahoma, you're so much more, you know what it feels like just to be a one or a different in the different various tech spaces that you're in?
Yeah, I think in so many ways. I think it's like I mentioned, even the just backgrounds of Chinese Puerto Rican, that's one whole thing. There's different languages or different cultures there, from mom's house to dad's house. All of that is part of me, but I'm navigating two spaces there. And then my stepmom's from Oklahoma, so I definitely learned a lot from her and kind of the Southern hospitality and
Mm,
what it's like to be such a super sweet Midwesterner and let the other car go before you. That's just such a usual thing in Oklahoma that I definitely adopted. And then even just coming to Boston from Oklahoma, that was a big change because
mm.
nobody has time at the, it's just different culture. Nobody has time at the coffee shop to like chat and like say, oh, how's your day going? Like, no, everyone's like, we don't have time for that. So I was actually even just slightly culture shocked from that moving here about a year and a half ago. So it's so funny. It's always a constant getting to know the new environment. I think that's just makes us who we are and makes us interesting to kind of see, oh, how am I in this environment?
What does that look like in tech? Because I've been told
Mm.
beauty tech isn't real tech. I was told that. I was told
Oh,
beauty tech is not as intense as other tech. It is social tech. I'm being categorized because people don't want to take time to sit and listen to a multi-level problem.
yeah, I see what you're saying now. I see what you're asking. So I think for us being in kind of the consumer packaged goods, the
Mm,
CPG, as well as medical device, I'd say that's kind of where we lie. But we are selling right now direct to consumer. It's very consumer facing, lots of that side first. Yeah, I think that people certainly see that differently of what I've learned so far from even just the fundraising side, consumer goods, because it's physical, it takes a lot more labor and manufacturing and time,
mm,
and it may have just a longer cycle to get that ROI to an investor just because it takes physical time to ship something and versus like a digital product that can be instantly shipped out. I think even that is a difference. So you're kind of talking to a certain set of people who understand this added layer. It's not just solve the problem, survey, test it in a market and go.
mm,
You have this extra piece, which is can you manage inventory levels and the back end project management and supply chain globally. I think we feel it more in
mm.
CPG perhaps because there's this physical shipment of goods from one could be across the sea over here. So I think there's a lot more difference there and a lot of people say that they won't even touch or engage with CPG products because it's so much riskier
Mm.
in that light just because it takes a lot more energy, time and money. So I think that that's a difference that I've noticed so far. I'm getting why maybe I'm hearing these no's
Mm.
from mentors or advisors or even investors because it's just a much different kind of business model.
The chair.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
The chair.
The way you talk about periods, you said everyone. You
Mm.
didn't say she. You didn't say her.
Hmm.
Does that create barriers for you because of people's definition of periods?
Yeah, definitely. So we're very intentional here. One of our pillars is honest
Mm,
education, honest and inclusive. That's what that means. And we're really trying to educate people the difference between sex and gender,
Mm,
and to explain that not all women have periods, and also not just women have periods.
mm,
There's a difference between how you identify and how you biologically may or may not have a uterus. So that's one thing that we're very careful, and we're really making period products for people who have a period at that time. And that definitely we've seen on social media when we make posts that are educating, or campaigns that are educating
mm,
about trans men have periods. And we're really being careful with not just doing pretty pink, colors, even on our site and branding,
mm,
because that may not be what someone wants to showcase in their bag as they're going to manage their period. We're educating a lot of things. We're educating about periods to people who may not menstruate. A lot of older white men that we're talking to that are investors, they just may not have been in the circles, may not have been asking questions, which they may be interested in investing. They just need that extra education. And so we've got to do a lot of that legwork.
mm.
But yeah, I would say we can find out pretty quickly in conversation if people are open to it or not. But we have been turned away from manufacturers who were not aligned with
Mm,
our branding, and just it wasn't coming from us. We showed them the numbers, we showed them financials. At the end of the day, we're in a very heated political time, fortunately, and some of these things are just people aren't open minded about. So that definitely has happened, but they weren't the right partner anyway. Because of that, it definitely slows down that business side more. I would say makes the vetting more important.
mm-hmm. But because you value other people's
Hmm.
values in how they work with you. If you say honest education, that means the people you're working with as well to be able to be not only honest but educated about how they're supporting you.
Yes, absolutely.
So, for the new entrepreneurs out there, what would be three pieces of advice that you would give them?
Yeah, I would say stick true. The number one thing was hold true to your vision and your values. That's number one. Write out your mission statement every day, whatever it takes to really ingrain it so you don't forget or get swayed, because you're going to talk to so many people and everybody has an opinion or a thought or comment or advice, all different advisors. And that was one of the hardest parts for me, was just feeling like, oh, they said I should do this. They said maybe I should do this part or that. And it was tough to like distinguish between, hey, was this really my vision for where we're going? Is this the right direction? So just keeping true to your core is the first thing I would say. People may not get it and they may be wrong. Definitely stay open minded to it, but don't be so easily swayed, is my first advice. Another piece I would say is definitely sustaining yourself. So taking care. There's a lot of talk about hustle culture and all these good, you can grind yourself till you burn out, like don't do that. Find what you need to do to balance and take a break. I know it's tough though, because it's all you at the beginning. So
Mm,
that's my advice, is self-care. And then maybe the last one would be, when you're going to build your team or even bringing advisors and mentors around you,
mm.
I would say culture. I guess it's kind of coming back to values again, but for me, it's really the people who make it worthwhile and get you through those tough times. So making sure you've got that good support system and you can lean on others for help.
Thank you for that. I think that was
Of course.
really helpful advice. And
Yeah.
just to turn the corner just a bit, do
Yeah, of
you
course.
feel like you are on a hair journey?
A hair journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. I would love to learn more.
Do you have a memory of the first time you fell in love with your hair?
Mm, I think I love this. I've never been asked this question, actually.
Mm,
I would say, yeah, I always grew up hearing different things. Oh, I wish my hair was straight like yours. Always would hear that. I'm
mm,
like, oh, well, I kind of wish, I had curly hair, whatever. So I think that's a little bit of what I internalized. But I think when I realized there's this time that I slept in braids, And I woke up after washing it, so it was a little bit wet and damp. So when I woke up, I had it nice and wavy. So when I realized I was able to pretty naturally have wavy or straight, I think that's when I fell in love with my hair, was just kind of, I could express myself both ways through that.
Are there certain products that you are like, I love them, everybody should use them?
I don't have too many in particular. I was gifted I cannot even remember the brand, but I can check on it. But I was gifted a leave-in conditioner. I'm not sure what brand it is though. It smells so good, and my sister gave it to me, but it works really, really well. So I'll have to check on that and I can share that with you.
Cindy, thank you so much for sharing your stories in the chair. I truly,
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
Yes.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I, of course, would love your continued support. Let me know what you think of this episode by doing all the things. Subscribe, comment, and come back next week, every week. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Or if you are like me, enjoy that moonlight and that one star under all your city lights. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
We support her. Shit.
Do your...
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has